Well, hello, everybody. Welcome back to the podcast. My name is Elliott Johnson. I am the host of this here podcast and one of the pastors here. Today, I have a special guest. I know I literally say that every month, but today the guest is special. All my guests are special. Special guest, would you please tell them who you are in the microphone?
Yeah, my name is Zach Hayes. I am the tech and music associate here at State Line Church. I get to be a part of a couple different ministries and help lead a few things here at the church. I'm glad to be on the podcast. Well,
I'm glad that you're here. I'm excited. Zach is one of my, I met Zach around when I started at State Line, and then Zach moved away to go pursue his dreams or whatever, and I was just here. So, Zach, how did you get your start in music? You're a very talented musician. And
thank you.
For those of you that don't know, he's very talented, even though he doesn't sing every week. He's a very good singer. How did you get your start in music? Were you in band in high school? How did you get your start?
Well, so the OG start, I was a pretty distracted kid. You know, I got that ADHD. You know how it goes sometimes. But so I was a very distracted kid growing up, and my mom, someone had told her you got to get him into something. Let him do something with his hands. Get him focused. Get him something he can put all that energy into. And so when I was 6, my mom just what instrument do you want to play? Take an instrument up. Which one? And my uncle played guitar in a band. It used to be in Rockford. It was called Chet, which it's kind of a cool name. But they were just kind of like punk rocker garage band type stuff, and I loved it. I thought it was so cool. So I was like, yeah, I want to play guitar. And that was the start of my journey into music. And then throughout the years, I just kind of picked up some other stuff along the way and played in a few different areas in high school, and then that was kind of history. I got hooked.
So what you start playing music and you find out, okay, this is my niche, this is my thing. How did this become okay, well, I want to do this in church? What kind of sparked that? Yeah,
that's a great question. So I grew up at a church in Rockford. They just changed their name, but it was Heartland Community Church when I was a kid. And one of the worship pastors, I was in the youth group. It used to be called Genesis. The youth pastor there kind of knew me. He knew my parents.
Yeah.
They were involved in the church, and so we were just kind of family friends. And he wanted to start this youth band. And so actually, some of the people that play at State Line were a part of that. So Trevor Brown, he's a drummer. His younger brother Keegan kind of hung out with us a little bit, and then their older brother, Justin, who occasionally plays, he played for, I think, Easter. He was a part of that too. But so he kind of reached out and he's like, hey, I'm trying to do this thing. I know you're new. It doesn't matter. Let's do something cool. Let's get some 12-year-olds together and let's do some worship, which in my 12-year-old mind, I was like, we're going to be the best band. This is going to be insane. This is going to be crazy. To give you more context, I, at the time, was playing this old 80s Guild, which, if you know guitars, you know that's not a worship guitar. That's a shredder metal guitar. I thought it was great. It was electric blue, and I had a guitar strap that was a blue lightning bolt. So
there you go.
I was dripping in swag, or whatever you want to call it. It was a good time. So yeah, that's how I got into it. And then I started doing that and really, really liking it, and did that throughout middle school and high school at a couple churches. And ultimately, it just kind of, in my mind, it always made sense. I was like, if I can play music and worship God and get paid to do it, that just sounds like the best lifestyle ever. I'm just like, that's exactly what I want. My favorite things, I got to take care of myself and my family someday, hopefully at that time. And I like music, and I really love God. So if I can do all those, that's great. And so it just clicked.
What's your favorite thing about worship? I know worship is broad, right? Worship is a lifestyle. I've heard that before. But in terms of Sunday morning within that context, what is your favorite? What draws you to worship?
What draws me to worship? I think so. I just think that there's something so special. For me, I've always connected with music, so that like on a personal level, it's just that for me personally is the most tangible way that I connect with God. I connect with God in a lot of ways, but that one has always reigned true. Is like if I want to encounter God, that is where I go. That's my first step usually. Is like let's get into the Word and let's worship a little bit, and that's in the context of music. But so I would say, man, there's something so special about it, because a lot of it is just having to get into a spot of like, we're decreasing so God can increase. Yeah. And there's a community aspect to it. Like, we get to gather in a community, in a crowd with, however many people, depending, like in State Line, a couple hundred people, which is great. And we get to sing about all the blessings and things, and sometimes even about the struggles we go through, and glorify the one God that takes care of all of us at the same time. And it's just, there's the relational aspect and the personal aspect, and there's just something so special about it. And then you add the musical side to it, and I just really think it creates an atmosphere. And then God like shows up in really powerful ways when you do that. Like he wants that. And so when we do that, like it's just so special. Yeah. Like, I love it. It's my favorite thing, honestly, on earth. Like, if I could just worship all the time, like, I would. Yeah.
One of the things that I love about worship is it's a opportunity for me to respond to God. Like, there, right then. Like, I love music too. Not nearly as musical as you are, but I enjoy music.
You're pretty musical.
Just the ability to be able to respond, and regardless of what my week looked like, regardless of what my next week might look like, to be able to say, hey, God, I don't know, you got me through this last week. I don't know what next week looks like, but like, almost like what you said, like, I know through all of that, like, you're there, like, you got me. And so it's almost like worshiping, and it's like, I'm going to worship in response to what you've already done for me, because I know I have the victory in my situations.
I know you and I have talked about this sideline a lot of times, but just for context for anyone listening, I talk a lot about this concept I learned in a past season of my life, just about like the middle, where it's like, it's honestly where pretty much everybody finds themselves. Like, you can't change your past, right? And no one knows what their future is going to hold, right? Regardless if however certain you are, you don't know, right? The only one that knows is God. Wherever you're at is right in the middle. Can't change your past. Don't know your future. Right. But like, biblically, that's where God promises to meet you. Yeah. And so, worship is just a culmination of that concept of the middle, of just like, God, meet me where I'm at. I also want to celebrate or ask you for forgiveness or praise or ask questions about the past, while also looking forward to the future and saying, God, please come into my life, bless me, help me through these things. And it's just such a beautiful marriage of all of that.
It's so true. I'm glad that, God is the God of, yesterday, today, and tomorrow. Like, he's always there. It's such a like calming thing to think about when you're like stressing about something, or when it just gives you an opportunity to just step back and be like, you know what, I know everything's going to be okay. I know it looks crazy right now, but everything's going to be okay. And that's why I think part of why I love worship literally is you get to respond like, dang, God, like, I didn't know Monday looked real bad, but now it's Sunday, and I got through that whole thing, and now everything, I made it, and so it's like, it's that reprieve. It's like, oh, Sunday, let's go, I made it, that's one of the things that I love about worship. So
it's valuable no matter how you feel. Yeah, whether you're good, bad, having a good day, bad day, it's always valuable, and you can always get something from it, and like, you can always meet God in whatever moment you're in.
So true. So
it's cool.
It is definitely, one of my favorite parts of State Line, and I'm glad that you are part of executing that as, the worship and tech director. So what do you love right now about State Line, about your job? Like, what are you loving about being here on this team?
Yeah. So it's kind of been like COVID, obviously, like, ask any church. It was really hard to get through that with just personally, but trying to manage like a church of a couple hundred people, that's crazy. So I came on kind of at the back end of the first wave of COVID. So like February.
Yeah.
And just through a few different things, we had a lot of really amazing people that were able to step up in the church and kind of hold down the fort. But there was like a big need of, there wasn't like somebody here to kind of handle a lot of the back end logistical stuff.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the things I really love to do. Like I love to get really nitty gritty into the music
Right.
of things. And I love to, we use a certain type of software to be able to run all of our tracks. Like I love programming that and just making it something that's like, I don't know, like intelligent. And so in my mind, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
Like I like putting it together. It's cool. It's fun. It's really nerdy, but I love it. So like being able to do that stuff has been a blessing. And since, I think they've met Logan already at this point, right?
Yep.
So Logan came on like a couple months later, and so being able to kind of like tag team that, we have a saying like Rome wasn't built in a day, and so we're just slowly building Rome together. Like where the team has just been slowly coming together. Like really amazing people have been coming out of the woodworks, and just to see all of that unfold has been really special. And then probably the thing that I love being a part of the student ministry team.
Let's go.
It's so fun.
Shameless plug again.
Yeah.
If your child isn't in students and they're in middle school or high school, 5:18 Sunday nights, we are here. Okay, I didn't mean to hijack you.
No, you're good. No, I love it. I feel like it's, I don't know, it's just like an opportunity. It's, there's a ton of weight to what we get to do. Like for me personally, like I wouldn't be sitting here having this conversation or doing or have done or doing any of the things I will do in the future if it wouldn't have been for people playing key parts in my life when I was at a student's age, specifically in church. Like it was a very, very important time in my life. Mm-hmm. Like Greg and Tyler were my youth pastors at one point. Like,
wow.
It's crazy. Yeah.
That is kind of crazy. And you're still here somehow working with them. That's insane to me.
The Lord forgives. I figured I should show them a little grace, But
that's funny.
No, they were great. But yeah, so students is awesome. Like again, it's just like kind of holistically, church wise. Like there's just been some really amazing people coming out of the woodwork that are just like, I have a heart to serve. I want to be a part of this. Like let's make this awesome.
Yeah.
And so like the student team has been just an honor to lead and serve with them. And like it's cool. We're starting to see like a really, really cool, unique worship culture starting to develop. And that just gets me I just get so excited over that.
Yeah.
Like all the kids are jumping, they're worshiping. Like it's kind of been a journey to get there, but like it's very cool to see. Like it's becoming really cool to engage in worship, and that's something that excites me.
Yeah. It is crazy how like contextually seeing them do what they do, it's like church is becoming like real and their church to them. And I know as a kid, I had youth group and I was a part of youth group, but it wasn't quite like what State Line does. And, not to like bash my youth group. It was great for what it was. I had some key pivotal people in my life that changed my life as well. But there was never really that ownership piece. I never felt like, oh, this is my youth group. Right. And it's crazy to see some of those kids like really own it and be like, no, this is my youth group and this is my time to worship and I'm going to lift my hands and I'm going to celebrate and I'm going to sing. Like that's just been so cool to see, and it's been eye-opening for me. So it's been cool to definitely, be a part of that team as well with you and, you know, just kind of learning about worship and worship culture and all that, all the nerdy logistical stuff, right?
Yeah,
right.
For sure.
So that's been awesome. What about what are some things that you've been learning as a young worship leader, as a worship tech director here at State Line? Like, what are some things that you're learning?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I feel like, I don't know. The last couple of years, I've lived a lot of different in a lot of different places, had a lot of different life experiences, and it's really easy to be like, well, I've done X, Y, and Z before, but like this is a new place, it's a new opportunity, and it's a new context. So being able to be here, like in the tech role, like I'm learning a lot. There's a lot of things where like things are like, hey, can we try that? And I'm like, yeah, I want to. Like, sure. Like I got to learn how to do it.
Yeah.
Let's figure it out. So like literally, I'm am learning a lot, like book knowledge, like how do we even do this? How do we craft that? And then trying to teach that to other people.
Yeah.
It honestly, like, if we're getting like a little bit beneath the surface with it though, like I'm learning a lot about, I think, myself through a lot of this too. Like it's been a really amazing opportunity, like, just to be able to be a part of this church. Like I said, I've been through a lot of different kind of seasons in a short amount of time recently. And, like, to be able to be a part of the church, and like the leadership of the church has been really gracious and kind throughout the kind of the past season I just came out of. But yeah, man, it's been really cool to be able to watch as these things are unfolding. Just to understand how many things I still have to learn. Like, I have so much to learn in like the music side of things, the tech side of things, and watching that all unfold. But God's really been teaching me patience and grace and humility. Like, you're not always going to have it figured out.
Right.
And like, as much as I would like to, I'd like to have every single thing figured out. Everything just like always would work. But you know, just as God has grace for us, like I'm learning that like good things take time, and you know, like Rome wasn't built in a day. You know, I'm if any of you are Enneagram fans, I'm a 7 on the Enneagram, so I'm constantly at like 30,000 feet of just like, we could do this, and then if we do this, we're gonna have this kind of response, and like we're gonna be here tomorrow, and it's just like it's not always realistic,
right?
And so it's just kind of like, okay, let's focus on where we're at, but also dreaming at the same time. So a lot of that is just like, how do you contextualize that? How do you like, in a literal sense, like how do you combine those two? So that's been a huge learning opportunity for me to kind of combine the future thought with the present context.
It kind of comes back to your like middle analogy, right? Where it's like,
exactly.
This is where we're at, and God, I know we can be over there,
full circle,
right? Full circle. but I know we're right here now, so we got to be here. But I know at some point we can be there. Yeah, it's so true. I think one of the things too that I've been learning, especially in this last season, is like, you know, as a kid, my parents were pastors, and so I've grown up in a church, but you know, watching and being a part of the church in that sense is like, oh, okay, yeah, this is cool. But like seeing how the team operates and realizing like, oh, it takes all of these people with all of these special skills to make sure that all of this happens every single Sunday. This is wild. And it helped me to gain like a lot more appreciation for all the people on staff that do what they do. Even in little things where like, you know, Leslie takes a vacation and it's like, well, what about this? We didn't think about that. What about this? You know, like stuff like that where it's just like, oh, you realize that like the teams at churches are like always thinking about all these little details and making sure that stuff happens. And I've learned just, you know, wow, I appreciate the people that I'm on team with, because there are things that they can do that I can't do. And there are things, it also is kind of like a kick in the pants. So I'm like, there are things that I have to make sure get done, because I don't want it to fall on someone else's plate. And, you know, I said all that to say the stuff that you do here at State Line, I could pretend all day like I know what I'm doing or what you're talking about, but I don't. And it's just I think I'm just grateful that you do what you do, because it is such a pivotal role. And that's why I'm excited that the people on the podcast today get to hear from you, because they like, not everybody like thinks they see you back there talking into a mic. They might not hear your voice, but like, you're like, you know, kind of like coaching. You're like, make sure we hit this note, make sure we do this, make sure, you know, you're directing. So you're like, it's
I'm not
so
singing,
cool. Not singing. No, you are, but you're not. But you are.
Exactly. Yeah.
So
it's kind of crazy.
What are some things? I know we just literally talked about the middle, but like, what are some things that you are looking forward to here at State Line?
Oh, yeah. So I think a lot of it is just like I'm just getting so excited. Like, as the teams are growing, that allows us to do more things. So like there's some opportunities. Like we're getting a new creative element soon in about a month or two. Like I think it's going to like it's going to be crazy for anyone listening. It's going to be so cool. But like we're going to have the opportunity to like I fully think like it's going to change how we do things creatively here. It's going to make things, it's just going to elevate them like insanely. But yeah, I mean like with the student team as well, like they're like we're slowly starting to develop like we had kind of like the same like 6 songs that had kind of been done for a little bit, and now we're starting to develop kind of like what's our sound, where are we trying to go with this, and so we're slowly like we have probably 20 songs that we're just like slowly trickling into the mix so we can get like a good set list and a good culture going. So a lot of it is just like I really like the path that we're on, and I like how it's going. Again, like it's a lot of like learning patience, because I'm just like, I see this. This is like we're a train that's building up speed. Like I want the full momentum now. I'm just like there's no way this isn't going to be like crazy in like by tomorrow. And I'm like, well, actually, like it takes a lot of work, and keep your head down. Right. So yeah, a lot of it is just like helping to stoke the fire of this train, and I really, really love the trajectory that we're on. So a lot of that is like creative things that we're doing as a church, like, and a lot of that does involve you and me. Like you're killing it on the creative side.
Oh,
and
well,
so,
thank you. I appreciate that.
Oh, yeah. But and then like on both of the worship teams that I get to be a part of, it's really cool. We're starting to develop our sound, starting to develop the culture, and it's very, very cool to see. So it who knows what the future will hold. I have known that like the only thing you can expect is the unexpected, but where we're pointed at is a very good place, and I'm very excited to see that to fruition.
Well, man, you're telling me. I'm excited too. So, and all you State Line folks, man, stick around. It's been so great to be a part of a church with you all, because it doesn't happen without you as well. So, and if you're tuned in and you were listening, thank you so much for tuning in. I appreciate that. Zach, thank you so much for joining me on the podcast
thanks for having
today.
me.
And we will see you guys next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.